So I welcome you all, and first of all, I would like to ask for remarks from a Priceville veteran, Sergeant Darrell Minifee, retired.
Thank you, Lynn, and good morning to everyone. Don't envy a man his medals, all those ribbons on his chest. He did not try to get them. They're not there at his request. They were earned in stinking hellholes, where no man would like to go, or in a cold and wintry places, where there's only ice and snow. He did not know he earned them till they were awarded at parade. And they were bright when he first got them, but in time, the colors fade. He was told he had to wear them, and wear them all with pride. But when the memories come to haunt him, those same medals make him hide. Because those medals will not bring back all the guys he left behind, and he would trade them all forever for a little peace of mind. So don't envy a man his medals. You don't want to take his place. Thinking back to long gone battles and meeting dead friends face to face. I am speaking to you today not as a Legion member or as a member of the Peace Committee, but as a veteran within your community. The thoughts, feelings, and impressions are my own and may or may not reflect that of any organization of which I am affiliated. Today we stand here at a living monument to the dead to recognize the 100th anniversary of its placement here in Priceville. What is a living monument, you might ask? It is a monument that, although names and places are not added on a regular basis, at any time they may be due to an international crisis. Many local communities throughout Canada have not been so lucky as Priceville has, and they have had to put new names of young men and women on their monuments because of Canada's longest war to date in Afghanistan. The names on this monument all died in the name of fighting for freedom. This year was particularly shocking to many Canadians as they sat home and watched in horror at how within a matter of weeks, the country of Afghanistan fell back to the Taliban rule. In reality, what it did was it emphasized how difficult the work that the modern soldiers endured on a daily basis in that country as they fought to provide the local population with a sense of security and freedom for all the time that we were there. Sadly, during this same time, here in Canada, what we have also witnessed was an attack on our home front and our own rights and sovereignty. This attack was not from a foreign nation or an armed group such as the Taliban. This attack came in the form of a virus. Now, the coronavirus did not come with demands that people give up their freedoms. Yet, in the last 2 years, we have had the largest attack Canada has ever witnessed to its freedoms. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees us the right to work and earn a living, the right to assemble, the freedom of expression, and the right to movement throughout our nation. All of these rights and freedoms have been severely limited, if not completely ignored altogether. And for the most part, the majority of Canadians have been willing to give up these rights. These are the very same rights and freedoms for which Canadian soldiers have been dying on foreign soils since the First World War. Yet we are allowing this attack on our freedoms within our own country. Let us all hope and pray that our citizens start to take their rights and freedoms less for granted before it is too late and we have no rights left at all. Failing to do so is a disservice to the ideals many brave Canadians have fought and for which many have died, including those names we see inscribed on the cenotaph before us here today. I would like to thank you all for coming out to recognize this important occasion in local history and to leave you with these final words. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. It gives me hope that since you are here to remember the past, it is far less likely that you will repeat its mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you, Darrell. Very meaningful. The memorial and those it honors will be related by John Butler.
Thank you, Lynn. It's always an honor to follow Darrell, a man who feels deeply and acts bravely. So thank you, Darrell. No one explains memorial sculpture better than a sculptor. May I introduce Colin and Jeanette Gibson? They are actually the next door neighbors of this war memorial because they live and work in what was once St. Columba's Presbyterian Church. Colin, assisted by Jeanette, is a renowned sculptor and creator of the Juno Beach sculpture entitled Remembrance and Renewal that welcomes visitors to the Juno Beach Center in Normandy, France. We're delighted that you're here today. Colin and Jeanette tell us that Priceville statue is Italian Carrara marble, carved based on a design by Canadian sculptor Emmanuel Hahn, who was the chief designer for the Thompson Monument Company of Toronto. Emmanuel Hahn was 7 years old when he came to this country with his parents from Germany. And renowned though a sculptor he was, he lost a number of major commissions after the First World War, including the Cenotaph in Winnipeg, simply because he had a German name and was of German ancestry. So wonderful monuments like this should say Emmanuel Hahn on them, but they don't. Marble, being soft, doesn't always weather well, but Priceville's bareheaded soldier has fared better than many of the 200 or so marble figures carved as great memorials across Canada. And the reason this has survived so well is because the community has cared for it for 100 years. And in fact, Doug Harrison, who is here today, his wife Mary tells me, every couple of years gets up there with water and cleans the monument. So the fact that this young man looks as young and good as he does is partly a tribute to you, Doug. Congratulations. And it's well worth the monument's $2,500 price tag, paid for entirely by funds raised locally. Every death recorded on this memorial is equal, but it does no disservice to speak briefly of one of them as a symbol of all of them. I learned about one of these men, Gunner Donald Lachlan Mckinnon, from his relative Mary Harrison. Thank you, Mary, for letting us meet Donald. Like many soldiers, Donald Mckinnon had brothers who also served overseas and suffered. His brother Neil was wounded severely enough to be invalided home during the war, and brother Hector served in the Royal Flying Corps. Before enlisting, Donald was a railway mail clerk, not a surprising career given that his father, Neil Mckinnon, was Priceville's postmaster. Young Donald had the makings of a leader. He joined the Army Service Corps in 1915 and quickly attained the rank of captain while stationed in England. Like many officers, he gave up his position as an officer because he knew ordinary soldiers, so to speak, were more likely to make it to the front in France. He joined the Canadian Field Artillery and attained the rank of sergeant. On September 10th, 1917, as a member of the 10th Battery Canadian Field Artillery, Donald Lachlan Mckinnon suffered a severe shrapnel wound from enemy fire. He died 3 days later, aged 25. One can only imagine what those 3 days must have been like for him. Although Donald's name is engraved on his parents' headstone here in Priceville, he is buried in the Aubignon communal cemetery extension in Pas-de-Calais, France, with 3,066 fellow fallen soldiers. The inscription on his grave in France was chosen by his mother, Elizabeth Mckinnon. The words are prophetic, given that we are gathered here more than 100 years later. The inscription says, "In years to come, when time is olden, Canada's dream shall be of them." Rest in peace, Gunner Donald Mckinnon, and your comrades named here. Today, Priceville's dream shall be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, John, although you don't hear me. Thank you. Next, we'd ask for MP Alex Ruff, Member of Parliament. He's also a retired military officer, and he has some remarks and has never turned me down yet for an occasion such as this to speak. Thank you, Alex.
Well, thanks, Lynn, and thanks everybody for coming out today. I'm glad I was able to make it. I actually got to be in Ottawa in 7 hours, so it's going to be tight, but we're going to make it happen. What makes our area so special is these memorials. Lynn got me out to Eugenia Falls, and another beautiful local memorial there. I'm obviously from Tara, and for me, like Daryl, like many of our veterans that have served both in the past and more recently, Remembrance Day means so much to us. However, it's days like today and making sure we never forget that really hits home. During my first tour in Afghanistan, it's when I really realized how supportive Canadians were, and it made our job so much easier when we were deployed, knowing that Canadians had our back. And to see these beautiful monuments like this maintained, it pays service, commemoration and recognition for those that did make the supreme sacrifice. Locally here in our own area, we lost 15 years ago yesterday, Corporal Robert T. James Mitchell from Owen Sound. I was fortunate enough to attend a small ceremony there yesterday at his memorial park, where we had a good turnout as well, just to pay recognition on the 15th anniversary. And the key message is we owe them to never forget. That's the key thing that we can take forward, and always remember that they are the individuals that made the supreme sacrifice for the freedoms that we so much enjoy today across Canada, and that we're trying to achieve in other countries. When we look at Afghanistan, you know, a very tough, as Daryl hinted, it's been a very difficult last few months for those that have been over there. However, just if you looked at the news in the last 48 hours, there are people in Kandahar, in Kabul, both men and women, protesting the Taliban for the rights for women and girls to go to school and to be equal. So I don't know what that country has in store going forward, but I'm a big believer that what we did over there, very much in line with what these soldiers that are recognized here on this memorial, is going to make a difference going into the future, and that we're going to have that country someday. It might be one of those young ladies, young girls that were educated during that 20 years of relative peace compared to, you know, what they had and what they're kind of going back under, that maybe one of them down the road will be that hope and inspiration for the future. So again, I just want to say thank you to every single one of you for coming out today and paying tribute and continuing to make sure we don't forget those in our past that have made the supreme sacrifice. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Alex. Remarks by Mayor Colin McQueen of the Municipality of Grey Highlands. He has to be in Ottawa in 7 hours. So.
Okay, I'll only take a couple hours then. Thanks, Lynn, and thanks, Daryl and John and Alex for your great words. I think it's important, Daryl and Alex, for continuing to fight for our freedom, because it's so important for us to be here today, and the ability to gather and speak freely. I wonder, Alex, maybe it was that taste of Canada that's rubbing off on Afghanistan, and maybe it was the Tim Hortons coffee. Maybe, who knows? But anyway, good word, nice words, John. And it gives me great pleasure to be here today on behalf of the Municipality of Grey Highlands to thank the people of Priceville 100 years ago for having the foresight to fundraise for this monument. They had placed here for remembrance of their sons, brothers, fathers that went to war, ensuring the freedoms that we enjoy today. Now, freedom is something that we take for granted, but I think it's something that we must, and I think you said the words, Alex, about remembering those who have or enabled us to have the freedoms, and I think it's so important, not only on Remembrance Day, as even today, Lynn, and all those that are organized today for us to be here today. We must not forget, we must educate our kids, our future generations, you know, and I know I had my great-grandfather, or my grandfather, their great-grandfather, who went to the First World War and certainly made it back. He was wounded. But I remember talking to having conversations with my dad, and he said his father would not talk about that war to him. He talked a little bit about it to me when I was younger, but he would not talk to his own kids, because I guess they blocked it out because of the horror that they witnessed, I'm sure, as you've seen many pictures of that. But I remember when my grandfather was close to, he lived to 95, and talking about his friend who he fought with, and he talked about the whiz bangs. I don't know if you ever heard that term, whiz bangs, but I guess is when the things went by you and it was bang. And that's, you know, I guess you heard it and continue to hear it, you're lucky. But again, it is my honor to come here today and to other monuments that we recognize also here in Grey Highlands to remember those brave souls and those who follow, least we forget.
Thank you. So I can ask MP Alec Ruff, Mayor Paul, and Daryl McMinifee if they would please lay the cross. Yeah. Start holiday with the names of the fallen.
Thank you, Lynn. I'd like to read the names of our fallen heroes from 1914 to 1918. Goldwyn Patterson, John H. MacDonald, Dan McNulty, James White, Donald L. Mckinnon, Thomas L. Mather, Isaac A. Pinkerton, Irvin MacArthur, Alex McVicker, Archibald A. McKinnon, Neil J. McMillan, Robert E. McLean, Henry C. McIntosh, Colin McLean. And our fallen heroes from 1939 to 1945, T. Orville Harrison, Lauren F. MacArthur, W. Marvin Sturrock, J. Garfield White, and Lloyd V. White. Thank you.
We will remember them. Now I would ask for a minute's silence, followed by I'll do the act of remembrance and then the Piper's tribute. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not bury them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. The local minister, Reverend Nicholson, was asked if he could come and bring his words today, and he didn't feel able. So they printed off the words and asked me to present them. So good morning, everyone. We gather here this morning to remember and to give thanks for what this cenotaph has symbolized every day for those 100 years. The sacrifice of lives for freedom and peace of others in this country and around the world. Specifically, this cenotaph has stood as a witness throughout the past 100 years and will continue for years to come, honoring the lives from this village and the surrounding area, including members of families here who paid the supreme sacrifice to enable you and I to experience the privileges and the responsibilities that we enjoy today. On this important anniversary, we could do no less than to gather for a few brief moments to remember and to give thanks at the same time, and to rededicate and pledge to do our part in promoting and expanding goodwill among nations and individual citizens of our community and country. Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, Redeemer and Architect of the universe, we give thanks for the dedication and the foresight of the builders of this cenotaph 100 years ago, for what it has meant and continues to mean to our community. May it stand for years to come, reminding us not only to honor the sacrifices of the past, but to also strive for peace and goodwill among all people. And now in benediction, may the peace of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be with and upon you, now and always. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Colin, too, is a member of the Peace Committee, and we do intend to continue doing these events to do meaningful recognition of things that may happen in the future or have happened in the past, so that they're not forgotten. They're not necessarily all about monuments, but other events that has made Grey Highlands, Grey Highlands. And with the assistance of the Priceville Improvement Committee, we were able to have this event on the day exactly 100 years since it was unveiled. Not the week of or the weekend of, but the exact day, and that is our intention as long as John and I are on the committee and Colin. So I would ask Doug Harrison if he would bring concluding remarks, and he is the chair of the Priceville Improvement Committee. Thank you all, and don't forget to gather after for a photograph. I'd like everybody in it for the people.
On behalf of the Priceville Committee and the community at large in Priceville, we thank John Butler and Colin and Daryl for and the Grey Highlands Peace Committee for their organizing this event. It is important to us, it's important to everyone who is gathered here, I'm sure, to recognize this important event. It is important here as a cenotaph in Priceville. It helps us remember. We need to be thankful of our veterans, both past and present. It is our intention again this year to hold our annual remembrance service here at the cenotaph and the laying of wreaths, as we always do on the Sunday prior to Remembrance Day on November the 7th this year at 11 a.m. So with that, I thank everyone for attending, and I know there are a lot of people here that have roots in the community and connections to the people that are engraved on this monument. I thank you for attending. Thank you.